Welcome to the Lean Six Sigma Project Charter module. This module can be taken as a part of the Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt program or as a standalone module. Once you complete this course, if taken as a standalone module, and you pass a short quiz, you will then receive a certificate of completion. My name is Kevin Clay, and I will be your program leader for today. Let's get started. Let's briefly go over the course agenda for this module. I'll start out with an introduction to myself, Kevin Clay, and our firm, Six Sigma Development Solutions Incorporated. We will then discuss the Lean Six Sigma Project Charter and the important elements of a charter. The elements of a charter that we will focus on are the business case, the problem statements, the goal statements, and the scope statements. A question you might be asking yourself is, who is this gentleman instructing us? What are his credentials? Well, excellent question. My name is Kevin Clay, and I am the president of Six Sigma Development Solutions. I am a Six Sigma Master Black Belt and a Lean Master Practitioner. I use the word master lightly because I truly do not think there is one. I find that the more you know, the more there is to know. It is a never-ending learning process. On this slide, you might see my email as well as my personal mobile number. If you have any questions about any of the topics that we cover in this course, please do not hesitate to email, text, or call me. Myself and my colleagues pride ourselves as mentors and teachers that are available to answer your questions. I have had the benefit of being a Lean and Six Sigma practitioner for over 17 years. In these 17 years, I have gained operational experience in many different disciplines. Disciplines such as manufacturing, distribution, processing, finance, retail sales, insurance, healthcare, IT, nonprofits, local and state governments, and many national governments. Myself and my colleagues have experienced many different processes and cultures. This makes us very effective teachers, mentors, and consultants. I have personally instructed over 500 plus change agents across the many disciplines that we have just discussed. I've led over 15 implementations in both domestic and global organizations. I have led or mentored over 80 Six Sigma industrial and transactional projects and facilitated over 110 Kaizen and workout projects for industrial, service, and healthcare environments. How do these credentials benefit you as a student? When my colleagues and I teach the Lean and Six Sigma methodologies, we back up these concepts with real-world stories of how these tools actually work. Comments on our course evaluations follow a consistent theme. These comments basically are, it's like you've been in my facility and you know my organization's problems. Well, we may not have been in your facility, but we have seen many processes with the same issues. Developing the project charter is one of the most important steps in a Lean Six Sigma project. When we solve a problem, we tend to put the fireman suit on, grab the hose, and run into the burning building. We douse the flames, but unknowingly leave the embers. Soon after, those embers flare up again and the fire erupts. The problem returns. We do not tend to follow any formal problem-solving technique when solving process problems. Therefore, we fight the same fires over and over again. As we all know, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is truly insanity. The Six Sigma DMAIC methodology is a way to avoid that insanity. The first step in a Six Sigma project is the project charter. Plan your work and work your plan. This is the mantra of the Six Sigma practitioner when developing the project charter. The project charter is the guideline for the entirety of the Six Sigma project. A project charter fills three critical roles. It answers why we need to do this project. The answer should always be a statement that relates to an organizational priority or a KPI, better known as a key performance indicator. It also keeps the team in scope. Thirdly, it keeps the team aligned with organizational priorities, again, KPIs. It is also very important to understand that the Lean Six Sigma Project Charter is not a static document. The team does not set it and forget it. The Lean Six Sigma Project Charter is a living document. As you discover more about the opportunity that you are investigating, as you narrow the scope, you will refine the charter to reflect the updated direction. Before we discuss in detail a few of the main elements of a Six Sigma project charter, let's briefly define them. First, we'll discuss the business case. The business case describes why this project is important to the company. Why should the organization support this project? Next, we'll discuss the problem statement. The problem statement contains a brief description of the pain being experienced by the organization. The problem statement should be related to the voice of the customer, whether that voice of the customer is internal or external. Next, we'll talk about the goal statement. What is the goal of the project? How much improvement is targeted? The goal of the project should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, otherwise known as a SMART goal. The project should be related to the problem that you're trying to solve. Next, we will talk about the scope statement. The scope of the project clearly describes the physical boundaries of the project. The scope defines what is included in the project and what is excluded in the project. Scope can also include product families, geographical areas, departments, etc. The next two elements we will not discuss in this module as they are relatively self-explanatory. Those elements are the timeline and the team members, but we will discuss in short these two elements. Timeline. The timeline describes the key milestones and when they will be completed. Typically for DMAIC Six Sigma project, the times for the completion of the 5 phases, which are define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. The next element that we will not discuss but is defined in the project charter is team members. The team members section includes all of the resources that are required to work on this project. Typically mentioned in this section are the project sponsors, those key stakeholders, team members, and most importantly, subject matter experts. Now let's dig deeper into the important elements of a Lean Six Sigma project charter. The first element we will discuss is the business case. The business case is where we start to understand the urgency of the project. The business case defines why is the project worth doing? Why is it important to do the project now? What are the consequences of not doing this project? A good business case connects the project to the strategic priorities. Again, those are the KPIs or key performance indicators of the business. The business case defines how will this project drive business initiatives and goals? How will this project impact the customer? Again, whether they be internal or external. How will this project impact the stakeholders? What are the expected financial benefits or the return on investment? Is that return on investment revenue increase and or cost reduction? Here we have given you a good template for developing an effective business case for a Lean Six Sigma project charter. This is the business case example. From time 1 to time 2, the organization experiences a pain metric with a target of, and give that target metric. This gap of, give the gap metric, leads to a cost of poor quality of X dollars. So an example actually filling in the variables or blanks above in the template would be from 2/2/15 or February 2nd, 2015 to September 25th, 2015, Acme Incorporated experienced a 65% on-time delivery rate in the Seattle facility. With a target of 98% on-time delivery rate, this gap of 33% leads to a cost of poor quality of $1,213,385. Whether you are taking this module as a part of the Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt course, or you are taking it as a standalone course, we would like you to complete a Lean Six Sigma project charter. In this exercise, we would like you to complete the business case. First, we would request that you download our Lean Six Sigma project charter template. The link to the template is given in this slide. There is also a link given in the course unit. We will be using this Lean Six Sigma project charter template throughout this course. Now let's discuss the next critical element of a Lean Six Sigma project charter, which is the problem statements. When I describe the project charter to students, I use the analogy of planning a race. The charter is where you define the starting line and the finish line. The starting line is the problem statement. This is where we describe the current state of the process. The purpose of the problem statement is to clearly define and quantify, using quantitative metrics, the current state of our problem or our opportunity. In our problem statement, we should define 5 elements. When did our problem happen? What is the problem? How big is the problem? Where is the problem and what is the concern or consequence? Here is an example of a problem statement defining these 5 elements. In the last 6 months, 20% of our repeat customers paid their invoices over 60 days late. The current rate of late payments is up from 10% in 2015 and represents 30% of outstanding receivables. This affects our operating cash flow by $259,000. 2 things you should never see in a problem statement within a project charter. Never assign blame in a problem statement. Never state the solution to the problem. If you know the solution, there is no need to waste time on a Lean Six Sigma project. For example, Invoices are over 60 days late because of our antiquated ERP system. We need to evaluate upgrading to the newest version. As you can see from the example, this statement breaks the two rules of things you should never see in a problem statement. In this exercise, we would like you to complete the problem statement on your project charter. Feel free to use the problem statement example provided on the previous slide as a benchmark. In the analogy of planning a race, the finish line is the goal statement or the objective statement. The goal statement defines the expected improvement the team is seeking to achieve in clear, concise, and measurable terms. The goal statement is defined relative to the problem statement in metrics. This allows the team and the stakeholders to understand the gap that is being addressed. A good goal statement follows the SMART concept. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. A good goal statement should cover all of these bases. A good goal statement does not assign blame, does not presume cause, or it does not prescribe a solution. A good goal statement also starts with a verb. Verbs like reduce or achieve, control, increase, etc. Here is an example of an effective goal statement. Increase employee motivation survey scores in the Seattle business unit from the current 42% to 70% by the end of the third quarter 2005. This goal is specific to a business unit, which is a manageable scope. It's measurable, it's attainable, it's relevant to the organization, and it is also time-bound. In this exercise, we would like you to complete the goal statement on your project charter. Feel free to use the problem statement example provided on the previous slide as a benchmark. The scope focuses on the physical boundaries and resources of the improvement efforts. If scope is not clearly defined, projects are subject to scope creep, or they grow in size. This results in projects that stall indefinitely. Scope can include geographies. They can include products and departments. They can also include customers, start and stop points of the process. I tell my students that there are three very important words when it comes to scope in a Lean and Six Sigma project. The first word, focus. The second word, are you ready for it? Focus. And I bet you can't think of or guess the third word. Again, it's focus. So, the three words, focus, focus, focus. This is often counterintuitive to the way management thinks. Our stakeholders want us to boil the ocean. They want us to fix the, quote, big problem. When we use data to determine what small, manageable, bite-sized chunks of the project we can focus on to get the biggest bang for the buck, our chances for success exponentially increase. We can then translate the the improvements to every other process that mirrors that process in our project that we're focusing on. This usually expands what management might think could be an insignificant ROI to an actual ROI that exponentially grows. An example of defining scope in a Lean Six Sigma project is: number one, defining the boundaries. For example, the marketing group in the San Antonio business unit. Number two, in scope would be all regular internal communications methods in the following categories: press releases, videos, meetings, and teleconferencing. Out of scope would be any one-time internal communication that reaches a small audience. In this exercise, we would like you to complete the scope section on your project charter. Feel free to use the scope example provided on the previous slide as a benchmark. Benjamin Franklin once said, "The only thing more expensive than education is ignorance." I engage companies every day that have finally come to this realization. This is the point in which these companies start to transform. By completing this module, you have taken a step towards transforming your future and your success. If you have questions or comments about this module or any of the contents, please post them to Twitter or Facebook with the hashtag SSDSI, or you can also call, text, or email me directly. It all starts with a conversation. We would like to schedule a call with you to discuss: what are your individual Lean and Six Sigma goals? What are your career goals? Do you wish to start or further your Lean and Six Sigma certifications? Does your company currently support Lean and Six Sigma? How can we help you to achieve your career goals? We have helped thousands of individuals and hundreds of organizations to succeed in achieving their goals. We would like to help you and your company as well. If you want to achieve your career goals, please contact Kevin Clay at 479-739-4940 or email Kevin at kclay@sixsigmadsi.com to schedule a 30 minutes conversation.